At face value, Shir HaShirim is a love story in which the husband, with erotic detail, conveys a message of love to his beloved. On account of the lack of explicitly religious content, as far back in the days of the Tanaim, there was a debate as to whether Shir HaShirim should be included in the Sifrei Tanakh. Its inclusion comes on account of the fact that it actually is a parable of the relationship between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his people, expressed in terms of the relationship between a husband and his wife. Rabbi Akiva declared, Chas v'sholom, that any man in Israel could have disputed the Kedusha of the Shir HaShirim. While all the Sifrei HaTanakh are Kadosh, Shir HaShirim is Kodesh HaKadashim. From which we see that the term Shir very often point to a set of words that embody deep and esoteric concepts beyond the normal day-to-day experiences of life. And therefore it could be argued that when Miriam led the women in song and dance, telling them to Shiru la Hashem ki ga'o ga'a, she was referring to those very esoteric concepts. She was aware of matters that are hidden. This was one of the criteria that we established earlier regarding a Navi, and therefore the term Miriam HaNaviyah in connection to Kriyat Yam Suf is justified. This is the first of two justifications for the term Nevi'ah, and is rejected by the Rebbe in the Sikha on the following basis. In describing an earlier expression of thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for their deliverance from the Egyptian armies, we are told that Az Yashir Moshe Uvenei Yisrael et HaShirah Hazot LaHashem, the same terminology that's used with respect to Miriam. The textual anomaly here is that the word Yashir is in the future tense, and for which Rashi proposes two options, the first a pshat and the second midrashic, to justify the future tense format of the verb. What Rashi does is to link the word yashir to the word az, then, and Rashi writes, az k'shira'ah hanes, when Moshe Rabbeinu and the nation saw the miracle that was done for them, then Allah b'libo sheyashir shirah. So that the time frame over here is not when Moshe began the shirah, but a short time prior to this, where we have the recognition of a nes. Moshe made a decision that it was now appropriate to offer shirah, an expression of thanks for the deliverance. Rashi then goes on to record three instances in which we have a verb that should have been in the past tense, but in actuality is in the future. One from Sefer Yeshua, the other from Sefer Melachim, and the third from Sefer Bamidbar. Rashi concludes this option with the words Zehu leyashe pshuto. All this has been done to synchronize the text with the pshuta shel mikra. Aval midrasha, but there's also a midrashic explanation for the use of the future tense, and that is mikan remez letchiat hametim min haTorah. Here, embedded into the text, is a link, a hint to the fundamental concept of tchiat hametim, that then, at some future point in time, Yashir Moshe Uvenei Yisrael, Moshe will once again sing Shirah to the glory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not for the miracles of the past, but for the miracles of the future redemption whenever it takes place. What we see here from the standpoint of Pshuta Shel Mikra is that Rashi does not read esoteric meanings into the Shirah of Moshe Rabbeinu, and therefore we are not bound to read an esoteric interpretation into the Shirah of Miriam. Which brings us back to base one. The question still stands: what relevance does the descriptive Miriam HaNaviyah have to the actions described in Parak 15?